Seven Rabbits. Absolutely love it.
Thank you.
I see it being the new slasher, like, of the, I don't know, this generation. Like, to me, it's like Scream in book form, kind of.
I hope so.
I'd love to see it on the big screen. So where do you get your inspiration for stuff like that? Like, I mean, it's a brutal book. So where did you come up with that idea?
Yeah. So I was actually working on 2 other books before that. Yeah. What really drove it was right before, like right as I was doing all this, and I started really getting serious about writing, and I was, you know what, I'm going to publish a book. We were going through a lot of issues with my oldest daughter who was in high school, and school wasn't really doing a whole lot, and I was having a lot of issues with that, and I was really pissed off about it, and I said, you know, what would it look like if I took that as far as it could possibly go? And so I took that idea, ran with it, and that's how I came to have such a vile, graphic book, and that's, in my head, that was as far as that could go, so I did it.
I think as a parent, it hits home because you do anything you can to protect your kids. And,
exactly.
You know. So you have put out a lot of books, it seems like, in a short amount of time. So how are you getting them out so fast? I know you have a full-time job too, right?
I do, yep.
So did you have ideas before you started writing, or?
Yes, I did. None of the stuff that I had before I have actually published because I didn't feel like any of it was really up to snuff. It didn't really. I felt like I wrote a bunch of stuff. I've been writing my entire life, but everything up before Seven Rabbits, I just feel like it didn't really accomplish what I wanted to. So I kind of started over when I wrote Seven Rabbits. I don't know. Honestly, I work like 70 hours a week between writing and my day job, and it's brutal. But my thought was, you know, I could go work for a company for 40 plus hours a week, but I don't have any time for myself and what I want to do in my dreams and everything like that. So I just carve it out. I mean, I write on my phone mostly, and so I get to work 30, 45 minutes before my shift starts, and I write on my phone. I take my 45-minute lunch break, and I write on my phone. I get my 20-minute afternoon break, and I write on my phone. I come home, and I do all the parent stuff, put the kids to bed, and then I write on my, well, I write on my computer at that point, but I write for another 2 hours before I go to bed. So, you know, it's, all in all, I'd say I work on it about 4 hours a day in between my day job and taking care of the kids and all that. And it's brutal. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it does kind of suck, but hopefully one day, you know, I'll be doing this full time. I don't have to worry about it. But
I hope so.
We got a little while. Oh, I appreciate that. We got a little while before it actually gets there. But.
One thing I did want to mention is you had something exciting happen this morning on Kindle Unlimited.
I did, yeah. Actually, that was huge. I've been watching it like a hawk. We hit 1 million pages today, which was mind-blowing. Never thought I would get there, let alone in just over a year, which is pretty crazy. So I wrote Seven Rabbits, and I fully thought maybe 50 people would read it if you included my family, and somehow it's blown up into something that I never could have predicted. You know, it's got 1,200 reviews on Goodreads and Amazon. It's in the Books of Horror Brawl. It's had hundreds of thousands of pages read. And it was really crazy because right as it started to die down and people weren't reading as much and the hype was dying down, it got into the Brawl, which launched it back up into the stratosphere. So right as it was dying off, it got a whole new breath of life. And then what was really crazy is I released Port Luck. And I thought Port Luck was going to be a flop because the first month it had barely any sales. It wasn't getting a lot of attention. And I don't know what happened. I really, really don't. I didn't run ads. I didn't do anything crazy. But around just over a month after the book was released, it must have fallen into the right algorithm because it skyrocketed and it's blowing away everything. It's blowing Seven Rabbits out of the water right now as far as sales and page reads.
Seven Rabbits is so good. I mean, Port Luck is too. I love it. But I have to tell you, we were talking to a couple earlier today, and everybody keeps asking if our last name's Slasher. And like, no, they said put your favorite genre on there. And so I was asking him, and he said werewolf. And he said, you know that one book that just came out, and he was talking about Port Luck. He said, it's my favorite werewolf book I've ever read. Like,
I love to hear that.
That's so awesome. So
it's funny because it's not even really a werewolf. When you really, it's kind of it's a spin on it. So actually, that one's based on 100% on a true story. And I got obsessed with that story a few years ago when I saw it on YouTube. I just happened to be scrolling through YouTube and I saw this video pop up, and it was abandoned the town in Alaska, what really happened, and I watched it, fell in love with the story. I was like, I'm going to write a book about that one day.
So, is there legends of a creature?
Yeah, it's inspired by a true story. It really happened.
So there really was a creature that was taking out people in the town?
Allegedly. So in the 30s, it was a flourishing fishing village, and then in the 40s, there was a bunch of mysterious deaths, and everybody fled the town except for the postmaster. He actually stayed there for a year by himself in the Alaskan wilderness. The official story is that a new highway got built, and it bypassed the town and made it economically unsustainable to live there. And a bunch of the children of the townsfolk came out in the 80s and started telling everybody about all the deaths that were happening. And one of the ones that stuck out to me was a guy who got killed by wood-cutting equipment, and this machine that crushed him was several thousand pounds, and the coroner's report says that somebody dropped it on him. And I haven't seen the paperwork to actually prove that that's real, but that's the story.
Wow.
And so they're saying there's no way that a person could have picked that up and dropped it on him, but he was basically crushed underneath it, so something must have done it. The actual story of Port Luck is about a Bigfoot, for lack of a better word. It's called a Namatuk. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation because it's Inuit, but it's basically their version of Bigfoot. Is the actual story. I kind of took that and went a slightly different direction with it, but it went more werewolf than Bigfoot. But it kind of followed the same, roughly what happened. You know.
Well, I do a lot of ARC reading for you and beta reading for you, and it's so cool to see your process. Like, there's been things, I don't even remember what it was, but something, and I'm like, I helped him with that part. Yep. Like, we did that. Like, that's so cool to know that we, helped on that.
It's huge. It makes more difference than you could possibly know, because I'll sit there and I'll plot the book out, I'll write it, I'll spend weeks, months, whatever it takes writing the whole story, and sometimes I just get so locked into what I'm doing, and then when you or one of the other beta readers goes, hey, you know what would be really cool is this part right here, this part doesn't make sense, or this part needs to be changed, or whatever, it can change the whole story and make it so much better, and it's getting an outside perspective is amazing. It helps so much, so I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you letting me do it. So, it's August 1st, so tomorrow you have a new one coming out.
I do. Yep, you helped beta read it.
I did. That's awesome.
Yeah, the harvesting.
One thing I want to say before we start talking about that one is every one of your books, one of the reasons I like you so much is that every one of your books is so different. A lot of times people I feel like authors get kind of in a rut, like this, I'm writing creature stories, that's all I'm going to write. And you don't do that. Like, everything you have written so far is completely different.
Yep.
Even the one that I'm beta reading now is completely different than anything that you've done. So I love that. I think that's awesome, and I think that with that, kind of puts you in the mind of Stephen King, where his are all horror, but they're not really all the same. Yep. Everything's so different. So, but anyway, the harvesting comes out tomorrow.
It does. Yep.
Fantastic story.
Thank you.
I'll let you talk about it because I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah. So the harvesting is a novella. It's the first novella that I've written. So I will say something that I learned through that process is the process of writing a novel versus a novella is actually very different. And with this being my first novella, I did learn a lot through that. So with a novel, I have unlimited pages to flesh out the characters, to flesh out the story, to do all things. With a novella, it almost felt like when I was writing short stories where I have 8,000 words to write something and then get that message across. Same thing, except for now I have 100, 120 pages versus 340 pages. And you have to be a little more concise and conscious of your words and what you're writing towards. But it ultimately follows a small town. I've seen a lot of people so far comparing it to The Village by M. Night Shyamalan, where you have, and this is a spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, but it's been out for like 20 years, so that's your problem. It's a town of people who are living as if it's the 1800s or the 1700s, whatever time period you want to pick, but it's modern day. So throughout the story, you see these people they're building houses by hand and using very simplistic tools and living very traditional rural lifestyles. But there's also cars and things like that come into play. And you find out that it's actually 2025. They're living like it's the 1600s. So, and every 13 years, they sacrifice a woman of the community to appease their gods that they call the ancients. and they've been doing this for hundreds of years. And this time around, Michael, our main character, who is the son of the prophet, the leader of this religion, he's being appointed to lead the harvesting. And unfortunately, the woman that he loves is one of the potential sacrifices. So he has to choose between duty to tradition and family and love, passion, duty to the girl that he has feelings for. So that's the general gist of it.
It's fantastic. All of his books are fantastic. You'll need to read them all.
It's getting really good reviews out the gate, so I'm pretty excited about that.
So what made you write that one as a novella? Did you have that, like, I know you said you had pages in mind, but did you set out to make it a short story, like a shorter novel?
I did. Well, I did and I didn't. So yes, because I had an idea in mind, a story in mind. I wanted to tell this specific thing about this specific religion, and I decided there's a lot of fluff in there that I could have built in and built up the story and really got into the backstory of the religion and how they got there. I didn't want to do that because I didn't feel like it really got to the point. I wanted to tell this specific story, and there is some connotation in there, some context about religion, and if you read in between the lines, there's some stuff about how religion can sometimes treat women and things like that I wanted to tackle. And again, it's not like on the head, beating anybody over the head with it, but it's definitely there. And so that's why I decided to make it shorter as versus going, like, Port Luck was 340 pages. I wanted to be more concise and more focused on just a few days, and I think the whole story takes place in 4 days. So that's kind of what I was looking at.
I think that's a good idea with this one. It's not one that needs a lot of fluff, not a lot of extra. I mean, you're rooting for Michael and Mary the whole time anyway.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm trying to think if I've got any other questions. I was like, 7 Rabbits.
Yep.
Let's go back to that.
Bring it back to it, because that's the whole point of the podcast.
Yeah, yep. We don't care. We want to get your name out there for people to read.
I appreciate it.
So, not that we have a following or anything yet. But,
It'll get there.
So 7 Rabbits. Any chance of a sequel?
Yes, actually. Not the harvesting, but the one I'm working on after the harvesting. There is a huge, I don't know what to call it. I don't know if you call it an Easter egg or a nod to 7 Rabbits. Actually, you'll find that out soon because you're beta reading it. We haven't quite gotten there yet, and I don't want to spoil it because I think it's going to be... Can I cuss on the podcast?
Yeah, as long as it's not within the first, 30 seconds, I think you said.
I think it's going to be an oh shit moment for everybody. It's the epilogue of that book, and I think it's going to blow everybody's socks off when they see it. So anyways, I do have an idea for a sequel to 7 Rabbits, and I've been talking about it a little bit. The idea I have, this is going to be super random, okay? But have you ever seen Rambo First Blood?
A long time ago.
Okay. So he basically goes on a tear and destroys the whole town. And that's kind of the idea I have in my head.
Wow.
And I started plotting it, but I have a long way to go. It's not ready yet. It's probably won't be ready next year, I don't think. I think it's probably a 2027 book. I have a couple ideas of what I'm already working on for next year, and so I do think I'm going to get there, but it's going to be a while.
So I know we were talking earlier, so you've got, obviously, the harvesting coming out this year. The one I'm beta reading, you're looking to put out this year.
Hopefully, yeah.
So is that it for this year? Just the 2? I know we were talking about one that you're kind of iffy about putting out.
There's another one that I'm toying with. So 7 Rabbits was on the edge of splatterpunk. I don't always classify it as splatter. I don't advertise it as splatter, but it probably is. It's in that upper range of what I would call regular horror.
Yeah, me too.
Same thing with Port Luck. It's gory, violent, gross. I don't know if that crosses into the extreme category. I think it kind of just toes that line. It gets real close to it and then backs off, and then gets real close and backs off. This other one, I have a novella. I've already got the title for it. It's called Last Christmas. I've written the whole thing. I've edited the whole thing. All I would need to do is send it to my editor. It's ready to go. It is an extreme erotic horror. It is so different from everything that I've ever written, and I don't know if I could bring myself to publish it. It's really gross. It follows a guy who made a deal with his high school best friend, female, that if they were both single at 30, they would get married. And he's already 30, but her 30th birthday is on Christmas Day. So he's got it in his head, since she's not married, that she's going to break up with her boyfriend and get engaged to him, and they're going to go get married, and everything's going to be great. And he has some other very strange tendencies. He's very into voyeurism and things like that. So there's a lot of sex in there. And it's not something that I'm super comfortable writing about. It really was something that I did as an experiment to kind of push me outside of my boundaries a little bit. And I think it's a great story. The one person that I had read it loved it. And I'm on the fence about whether I'm going to publish it or not. But if I do, we could potentially have a 4th book this year.
Okay.
We'll see. I'm on the fence about it.
And then what's in the books for next year? Are we looking at kind of the same pace?
I don't know. I think I'm going to slow down a little bit. I have another book that I've finished. It's kind of, I would call it a novel. It's a very short novel. If it is, it's around 45 to 50,000 words, so it would probably be somewhere in the high 100s, low 200 pages, so it's pretty short. I wrote it. I don't know if I'm going to publish it. It needs a lot of work. I actually wrote it a few years ago and never did anything with it. I just wrote it as a passion project, and it deals a lot with mental health and suicide and things like that, and I had a family member who unfortunately lost that battle, and I wrote that as more of a cathartic thing for myself, and I'm considering publishing it. I've talked it over with my wife a little bit, so I'm probably going to rework that and see if I want to go forward with that. I also have an idea for more of a thriller novel. If you've ever read Razorblade Tears by S.A. Barnes, I have an idea for something along those same lines, and I'm a really big fan of S.A. Barnes, so I would love to write something along those lines. So I have that in mind. I have another monster novel that I'm working on. It's more of a novella, about a Wendigo. Okay. I'm currently actively writing that, and I'm doing that on my Patreon, so it's a kind of a ride-along with me. And as I write the unedited chapters, I'm putting it up there for them to read and give me comments and feedback on. I'm
not sure how I missed that. How have I been missing that?
It's on there. I don't know. It's got a whole collection on there. I think I'm 7 or 8 chapters deep on that one right now. So
I'm kind of technology challenged, so that may be why.
I'll help you out with it after we're done here. But yeah, so I like that one a lot. I think I'm going to publish that one probably early next year if everything goes right. The other one, so the mental health one's about a Curie, a Kuri. It's a British folklore thing about a monster that latches onto you if you see death. Okay. And it drives you insane. And I've done a lot of research on it, and a lot of scientists and sociologists believe that it is early English people's way of explaining schizophrenia. Okay. And so that's kind of the idea. That's the route that I took with that, and it's written. It just needs a huge rework because, like I said, I wrote it years ago, and my writing and style and everything has changed and grown so much since then that I look back on it and it's not good. And I probably need to trash it and completely start over.
I think we've heard that from about everybody today, that the first stuff was not.
Yeah, it's there. I mean, like I said, I've been writing since I can possibly remember. I actually started writing before I could physically write. I would dictate stories to my grandmother, and she would type them out for me. Yeah. So actually, in Seven Rabbits, there's in the dedication, part of that's dedicated to her, even though I didn't want her to read it.
You can read the dedication.
She read it. She read the whole book. She's like, "Oh, it's so violent. You should try writing something sweeter." And she has no idea that that's never going to happen. But she's amazing. So yeah, that's kind of the game plan for next year. I think that's what I'm going to go with.
So, what got you into writing horror? Why did you pick horror?
I've always been a horror fan. Reading, writing, watching. I actually started off with sci-fi and fantasy and published a few things online which are no longer available. You will not find them. Don't try. It's not there. They are complete crap. Looking back on them, it's kind of embarrassing that I would put out something like that. Which I'll say, people are really proud to publish and write things when they're in their 20s, right? It's like, oh, look at me, I'm 21 years old and published my first book. Congratulations, dude, that's a huge achievement. Slow down, learn the craft first, and then try again. Because if I would have published the stuff that I had in my when I was in my 20s and wrote that, I probably would have unpublished all that and thrown it all in a fire, and nobody would have ever seen it again. But, so I was writing fantasy and sci-fi, and I realized the parts that I liked about both of those were the parts where the people were in danger, and it was scary, and the adrenaline was pumping, and I'm like, why don't I just cut out the middleman and write horror? Yeah. Because that's what I actually like to write anyways, so I dove into it, and that's what I did. But I think I am going to branch out. I'm a huge fan of military sci-fi. So I'm thinking in the next year or two, I'm probably going to branch out and write some military sci-fi as well. I probably won't push it as hard. It's not going to be something that I think is going to make me, serious money or anything like that. It's more just going to be something that I enjoy doing and want to do. So I think I'll probably start that sometime next year. We'll see how things play out. But I've got an idea for a 10-book series for that.
Wow.
I say book. It's more of 10 novellas where it's this intergalactic battle or war, and each book is a different battle through the series, and you follow a soldier through it. It's an idea that I have, and I'm toying with the idea of like confronting fascism in it, and I've got a whole bunch of ideas for it. And I know this isn't really what this is about, but it's something that I'm probably going to work on over the next couple of years. But it's not going to be my main focus. My main focus is going to stay on horror. I want to be a horror author. That's what I want to be known for. But I've got some other things that I want to do on the side as well.
Okay, so now we're going to get to the fun questions. What's your favorite horror movie?
Oh, man.
Top five.
Top five.
Top
All
five.
Right. So I love The Strangers, the original one. Almost a perfect film. 99.9% of that was amazing. The very, very ending, and this is a spoiler alert, if you've not seen The Strangers, pause the podcast, skip forward 30 seconds, whatever you got to do. But this is your spoiler warning. The jump scare where the wife wakes up at the end and screams is the cheapest, most crap ending I've ever seen to a movie, and it pisses me off. But otherwise, I love that movie. I took a lot of inspiration for Seven Rabbits from The Strangers. Not necessarily horror. I mean, it is a little bit horror, but it's kind of not. It's on the fringe of horror. It would be Donnie Darko. I took a lot of inspiration for Seven Rabbits from Darko. And then outside of that, I mean, It by Stephen King, the made-for-TV one, I watched it when I was way too young, and it traumatized me horrifically. I was having night terrors as a kid and everything like that, so I would put that up there, not necessarily as a great movie, necessarily, but it had such a profound impact on my life and my writing style and how messed up I am now as an adult that I had to include that in the list. So that's 3. I love Alien, the whole Alien franchise. I really want to get into sci-fi horror. I've got some ideas for it. I did write one sci-fi horror short story that I published that I love. I'm obsessed with it.
Which one is that?
That one is the Colony 9. It's in the Beating Heart of Colony 3. Sorry, mixing up stories. Beating Heart of Colony 3. It is in an anthology, and I'm going to draw a blank. I don't remember which anthology it's in, but I do love that story, so I'll get that one for you afterwards. But that one follows it's kind of funny. So it follows a special forces unit set, thousands of years in the future when we're colonizing other planets, and a Mormon outpost on this colony planet they've lost contact with this Mormon outpost, so they go to investigate it, and weird stuff starts happening when they investigate the Mormon outpost. I stole that a little bit from the Starship Troopers movie. There's a whole scene in the Starship Troopers movie where the military goes in to investigate the missing Mormon colonists, and I was like, cool, what if I took this a totally different direction? And I did, and it was great. I loved it. So I love military sci-fi. I love that one. Like Event Horizon, same thing. I love Event Horizon. So I think probably not next year, but I'm thinking the next year after that, probably 2027 or so. I've got some ideas for sci-fi horror that I want to get into. I've got this idea for Silent Hill meets interstellar space travel.
Oh, wow.
And so I've got an idea for that I'm slowly plotting out, trying to figure out how I'm going to make it work. But I think I'm going to get into that at some point too.
So on our podcast, we do movies and we do books.
Okay.
So if we've got somebody listening who doesn't read horror, but they're a horror movie fan, what other than your own books, because I tote those all the time on the podcast.
Yep.
What would you recommend, like
for books?
For books.
Okay, so for books, man, I hate that I have to say this out loud because I'm hanging out with them all weekend, but anything by James Cain is amazing.
Yes.
I tote that all the time, and I hate to say it because we're like best friends, but also, we're here hanging out all weekend. I'm never going to tell him this to his face, but he's one of the best writers around right now. I love his stuff. John Durgan, fantastic. Nick Roberts, fantastic. if anybody wants to try to push their luck and go kind of extreme and see if they can handle the road grow stuff, Judith Sonnet's amazing. Andrew Van Way,
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm going to draw a blank. A head full of no. The Andrew Van Way book.
It's holes. Is it
Head full of holes.
Yes.
That's it. A head full of holes. Yeah, I was blank. Sorry. That one's amazing. The first half of that book, you're kind of just confused. You don't know really what's going on. It really comes together.
But it's written in such a way that you want to keep going, so you figure
Right.
out what's going on.
Exactly.
It's not one of those you're like, I'm not going to finish this because I'm confused. It's like you have to figure out what happened.
Yep.
You know.
And then one of my favorite books ever is A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. I love that one. I would recommend that to everybody. Paul Tremblay has a really unique writing style that not everybody's going to love. But that story, it's The Exorcist meets reality TV.
I haven't read that one. I have it at home. I haven't read it yet.
Oh, you should read it. So basically, the story's told from the perspective of the youngest daughter in the family. I think she's 6 or 7, if I remember. It's been years since I've read it, but and her older sister, who's 14, 15 years old, whatever it is, she is dealing with a lot of mental issues. And the family's super religious, and they bring in a priest and a reality television show to record the exorcism, and all hell breaks loose.
Wow.
And it goes completely freaking sideways in the worst ways possible. And if you have not read that, you should bump that up your list. It's one of my all-time favorite books. I'm so weird with Paul Tremblay's books because I either absolutely love them or I can't stand them. And it's like every other book he writes I love, and every other book I love that one. I love Survivor Song. Couldn't stand horror movie. It's just hit or miss very hard with Paul Tremblay. And I hope I meet him one day just so I can have him sign my copy of A Head Full of Ghosts. But I'll never tell him this in person. But there's a couple of his books that are just huge misses for me, and a couple that I absolutely love and I'm just ecstatic over and would recommend to everybody. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, I don't want to take up any more of your evening, but anything else you want to share with us about Seven Rabbits before we go?
I don't think so. I would check the trigger warnings before you read it. There's all sorts of violence in it. There's deaths. There's suicides. There's self-harm, bullying, racism, sexual assault. I mean, it touches on everything except for animal harm, I think. I think I touched on all of it. And I actually, it was really important to me, I included the phone numbers for the suicide awareness, suicide prevention, and the domestic abuse hotlines in the book because it deals with a lot of that stuff, and I know that a lot of the people who are going to be reading it have dealt or are dealing with that stuff, and I wanted them to have a resource to reach out to. So 100%, if you can't handle that, don't read it. I understand. It's cool. No hard feelings. But that stuff is all in there. Expect it. So that's the only thing I would really say. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy it.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Thank you.